All right, I call this meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. All right, senators, please step out for a second. All right, guys, so at heart, it is now I Heart the Senate Week. So part of I Heart the Senate Week, if you all saw the agenda, is I have a little GA surprise prepared for the senators who are like the heart of our organization in terms of what we intend to do. Senator White, please, sir. So how it will work. Okay. So how it will work, yesterday, everybody wrote all of the senators like love letters or just letters of appreciation, just saying, how they're appreciated and stuff like that. So I have some of them here, some of them I passed out yesterday, but we still have extra ones. So how it'll go is I'm just gonna introduce each of the senators as they walk in and just give them, a heartfelt clap, just appreciate all of the work they've done throughout the semester, just showing some appreciation. And then we'll go through the rest of the GA. Sound good?
Yeah, great.
All right, great. Justice Chin, can you grab the door, tell the first senator to come through, and then I'll just continue. Pardon? Yeah, just tell they should know. I told them. They just come in the line. I do have some extra cards for you. I gave you some yesterday, but we do have more for you. I won't pass them to you now because I won't try to pay attention to GA, but I will give it to you at the end. All right, next one. So can you tell them form a line? And I wrote letters to all of you guys too. They're very heartfelt. I like that. All right. On Senator Brown. Anything you do. Your work is not going unnoticed. We appreciate you so much. Fantastic. Always come spiffy. I love the pants. Beautiful. That's not the TV you want to but I guess we'll accept it. Thank you for everything you do, but you've already made contributions. Thank you. I do have some notes for you as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for continuing to be great. Thank you. Thank you for being you, sir. Fantastic. Sir. And of course, I'd be remiss if we didn't thank our wonderful content for his amazing speech. All right. Welcome everybody to their feet. I would just like everybody to give the senators another round of applause. We have to give our round. We have to give a lot all throughout the semester about, quorum and all the things that they do. It's very important to appreciate them for what they've done throughout the semester and last semester, because without them, our organization won't be as effective. So thank you all again for everything. All right. So now we're moving to the fight song. So this is our hardest in the week. Guess who's going to do fight song? A director. What makes it? We do it. President Watch America, you could do this in fight song. 1, 2, 3. Wasn't that just amazing, guys? Yes. All right. We're gonna now move to roll call, which Attorney General Missouri is not with us today. All right, so we're now moving into roll call. President Colquitt. I'm present.
Point of order. You take off phone numbers off. Take off phone numbers off.
Okay, Chief of Staff Moody is going to take roll call. Sorry for that technical difficulties, since we do not have our Attorney General present with us, but we'll just continue to move through the agenda. We're now moving to the approval of the minutes. They're on the SharePoint, easily accessible. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Senator White.
I got a few things. Bear with me. Right. On behalf of Senator Crosby, I'm moving to strike Senate Bill 4 from the agenda. That's a motion.
Is there any second?
I second.
All right, second, we'll now move to a vote. All those in favor to strike Resolution 4, Senate Bill 4. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Great. We'll now continue. Are there any other amendments to the agenda? Senator White.
I made a motion to create Senate Bill 7 and add that to new business, titled Creation of this Oversight Committee and Removal of the Grant Review Committee. And Senate Bill 8 is going to say the same thing, but and join together. But let's start with that motion first. It's not in the package.
Solicitor General Brown,
Mike,
Senator Mike, can you pass me the mic, please?
point of clarification, why is this under unfinished business instead of new business when these are all new bills?
That was a clerical error. I corrected it here already.
Thank
Order,
you.
order, the motion on the floor.
Can you please restate your motion and pass the mic back, please?
I'm making a motion to create Senate Bill 7 and add that to new business. Senate Bill 7 is titled The Creation of the Oversight Committee and Removal of Grant Review Committee and the Constitution.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor of adding Senate Bill 7 and Senate Bill 8 to new business? Everybody raise your hands. If you're in favor, please raise your hands. All those opposed? Are you opposed? Okay. All those abstaining? All. Great. So with that, we'll add Senate Bill number 7 to new business. I'll make that correction now as we go through communication. Are there any other members of the gentleman? Senator White?
Motion to add Senate Bill 8, the creation of a Senate Oversight Committee and removal of the Grant Review Committee in the bylaws. This is Senate Bill 7 and Senate Bill 8 are somewhat the same one. I'm changing the bylaws and I'm changing the Constitution to make sure that's consistent. So with that motion to add Senate Bill 8.
All right, is there a second? Government Operation Rhymes.
I second.
All right, we're now moving to a vote to add Senate Bill 8 to the agenda for new business. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? All right, great. Excuse me, I'll make the correction as well. Are there any other members to the agenda? Fantastic. All right, now we'll move into guest speakers. We do have 2 guest speakers today, so please put your hands together for Vice President of Enrollment Affairs, Mr. Boyd Bradshaw.
First want to say thank you for, I just want to say thanks for inviting me, Jordan, to today's SGA meeting. And this is my very first SGA meeting at Towson University. I'm a new face at Towson University as well. I arrived here about a year ago, where I was the Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management at Indiana University. And I was at the IUPUI campus. Has anyone heard of IUPUI? Anyone from Indiana? Very similar position. That's good to know that. But it's been a great year. And what I wanted to do is really put a face with a name and introduce myself to you, but also tell you a little bit about some of the enrollment successes that we're having here at Towson, and then open up to questions and answers. I don't have a presentation or anything like that for you. But one of the things that's really important as we look at what we call strategic enrollment management is how do we plan for the future? You know, Towson University lost a tremendous amount of students during the pandemic, and it was leading up towards the pandemic as well. We all know in the country that we're seeing fewer and fewer high school students going off to college. And we've relied so much in the past, not only on high school seniors graduating and coming to Towson, but also the community college enrollment. We look at the community college enrollments throughout the state of Maryland and in the country, it's also declining. And so, you know, that's a challenge for us. Right now, we have approximately 19,300 students at Towson. That was our spring enrollment. At one time, we were up almost to 24,000 students. So that is a decrease, but what we are doing on our end is making sure that we do have growth moving forward, but we have planned growth. We would like to see ourselves grow to about 21,000 students in 10 years. It's not going to be something that's really fast because the competition is out there for number one, but number two, we want to enroll students that are going to be successful and to graduate. You know, some people would say that the growth here at Towson back prior to the pandemic was almost too fast. You know, we were outgrowing our facilities and we were also, you know, on a fast pace to enroll more and more students. And now as we look forward, you know, we're hoping to slow down that enrollment growth. So that is something that we're really excited about. We are really excited about this next year's class that's coming in. We are at a record number of applications for next fall, which is exciting. We are also seeing an increase in our graduate student enrollment. I think this move to Research 2 is really going to make a difference. I do believe that graduate programs do attract undergraduate students. And you can look at yourself sitting there, you know, how many of you have actually came to Towson because of the graduate programs? Any hands? That's going to change. I really think that we're going to start seeing more and more undergraduate students enroll here because of the pathways that we have to some of our new graduate programs that we're proposing. My office is in the Enrollment Services Building. We are hoping someday to have a new facility, a new building on campus. And that is something that, you know, has been in discussion for some time here at Towson. I oversee the undergraduate admissions office, which includes transfer, undergraduate admission, freshman, and then also graduate. I also oversee the registrar's office, Office of Financial Aid here on campus, academic advising, retention and completion, and then our tutoring and learning center, which tutoring and learning center and academic advising both are in the academic commons. So that's kind of the overview of enrollment management. We have about 130 staff. We have about 100 students that work with us, from student ambassadors to students that work in the office. And so it's a large operation. So with that said, I would like to open it up for questions, if you have any.
So with out-of-state students, right now we're at our lowest point in probably the last 30 years, with about around 1,500 full-time undergraduate students. And this trend of like declining started like pre-pandemic, of back in like 2017. I think we've seen a 36% drop of out-of-state students. So how is the missions team going to address that overall drop in our students? Because it really is affecting our ORs with, you know, not enough out-of-state students interested, you know, like that.
I totally agree. You know, Towson used to have a much healthier out-of-state enrollment, particularly from our border states. What we're trying to do right now is putting more priority toward that. One of the challenges that we've had with out-of-state students is that we have outpriced ourselves in the marketplace. It's the out-of-state tuition is expensive here at Towson, and that has become more of a challenge for students that are looking. We can't keep up on the financial aid side. So we're looking at some additional scholarship programs for students, particularly those that are closer to the state of Maryland, but we just got to put more resources into it, more focus. Out-of-state students bring diversity to campus. Also, one of the things that, you know, students tell us is they want that diversity in the classroom as well. They want students from different places studying in the classroom. And I think it's really, really important that we focus on that. So part of our enrollment growth plan over the next 10 years is to really focus more on out-of-state, you know, hiring recruiters that work in certain states that they live in as well. We do have a recruiter in Pennsylvania, but we need to look at other states as well. Right there, I think in the corners first.
Yeah, I was wondering what efforts you guys had to reach the people in areas outside of the greater Baltimore metropolitan area. Places like the Eastern Shore, the southern areas of Maryland, some of the far north. I feel like we have a very strong hold here, but if we want to be the #1 institution of the state, we also have to reach those specific areas of the state.
Again, I agree with you. And so one of the things that's going to help us do this is we're coming up with some strategies that's going to help us be more strategic and more targeted, specifically focused on parks throughout the state of Maryland. We do cover the entire state, but what's happening in the state of Maryland is a good state for education, and the competition from outside of the state. So other states, other universities are coming into Maryland to recruit students. And so, you know, our priority has always been our backyard, the city of Baltimore, and we will continue to recruit heavy in the city of Baltimore, but we do need to get out there. And so it can be a much more targeted approach. We just are in the process now of implementing a new CRM called Slate, which is a customer relationship management system that will allow us to do more targeting, specifically with how we communicate with students, how we advertise to students, and to be very, very strategic in our approach. That's going to get us to where we need to be.
Thank you.
Yep.
You mentioned some of the graduate programs that you are planning. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we have a number of, and I don't have the names of the programs in particular, but we have a number of new programs from our colleges that are in process of going through a review in order to be approved to be offered even as early as next fall. A large percentage of them are PhD programs, because as we move to a Research 2 institution, we have to graduate so many PhD students to really just keep that status. But we're also looking at some new master's degree level programs as well, but particularly the names of them. Some are they're in different places through their approval process.
Hi, I just had a question. Is it just enrollment as far as new students coming in, or do you think it's more of a dropout thing or transfer thing, or is it a mix of both that majorly contribute to this?
It's both. Yeah, particularly during the pandemic, we brought in smaller classes, but we had a larger number of students leave us, particularly during that second year of the pandemic. And so we're making up that difference. Towson has traditionally, I mean, we graduate students at a 70% rate, which is high compared to our peer institutions. There's only 300 and some universities in the country that have a 6-year graduation rate of 70% or higher. So students that do enroll, they have traditionally been very successful, but we have seen an exit over the last couple of years that we are concerned about. And so we are looking at different ways, particularly focusing on academic advising, as well as, you know, this academic commons, this new space in tutoring and learning reports to me that we're seeing more and more students taking advantage of the programs that we have, the Writing Center. There's more students using the Writing Center as well. So we have to continue to put more services in place to help in order to, you know, for students to feel like, you know, they can be successful. I think one of the biggest challenges we're going to have in the future is residence hall space. I mean, we're already crunched right now. Our residence halls are full. And, you know, we know that students that live on campus, they are much more successful than students that don't, particularly during their first year. And so we're looking at different ways to get more students on campus as well.
Just a question about the graduation, the PhD program that you guys are planning to engage with. What field would that mostly be in, you know, mentioned?
Right now, we're focusing in the STEM fields. And also, when we bring on a new program, we're doing the research that's required. So establishing, is there a market for this program? Is there a demand for this program? What do other institutions around here have? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be a hybrid? I mean, those are all the things that we consider when we look at new programs. And we're looking at programs that will bring research into Towson University as well.
Yeah, so I like how you mentioned the about HRL, seeing as though like our residence halls and stuff are kind of like crushed up. So I think that some of the things that we can do as an organization, like internally, is kind of work with, you know, youth and family programs and housing residence life to kind of promote that and try to get more student engagement and help with the retention. I didn't know that 70% factor. That's good.
Yeah, that's really good. We do graduate students at a high rate. The other thing about housing and about, you know, really selling the student experience for students that live on campus, and as well as the student experience, students that don't live on campus. I mean, we have a large percentage of students that also don't live on campus that do just fine. And so I think, you know, each student's looking for a different thing. And so we really have to be more targeted in that approach. Again, it goes back to targeting, being more specific. We didn't have anybody in my position before I got here. This is a brand new approach by the campus to be more strategic, to be more planful as we look at enrollment moving forward.
Does anybody else have any questions for Vice President Bradshaw? All right, great. Thank you for taking the time.
Well, my door is open, so if you have questions, Jordan's been in my office once, but we've talked a few times, so please come and see me. Wait till you hear your next speaker, she's awesome.
Speaking of our next speaker, we have the president of the Towson Foundation, Ms. Edna Primrose. Please give her a round of applause.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's really quite a pleasure to be here. The last time I was at an SGA meeting, I was a student, so it's really been a minute. So thank you so much for having me. And before I get into telling you a little bit about the foundation or asking you what you know about the foundation board, I do want to say that Jordan is a wonderful representative on the foundation board. And we're so happy to have student voice as part of the way we steward all the funds that come into Towson. And he and I are also both on the president search committee. So Jordan, just thank you so much for your leadership, your openness, the way you represent the student body. It's just phenomenal. And Damon, you are a Robert's Rules of Order boss. Very well done. Thank you so much for that. I had to get a little bit of a refresher before we had our first foundation board meeting in February, because I just became president of the foundation in November. So I just want to give that acknowledgement. And of course, Zakia with managing all of the cat herding of everybody. Just thank you for that. And thank you for all the officers and to all the senators as well. So, all right, what do you know about the Towson Foundation? Have you heard of the Towson Foundation? Yes.
To my knowledge, I don't know if all of you all are alumni of Towson, but you all help to raise funds for Towson University through like philanthropy and things like that.
Excellent. That's right. We have a lot of sources that feed into the foundation funding. Anything else? All right. Okay, this is good because I just wanted to know what the knowledge base was. So the Towson Foundation, simply put, manages all of the gifts that come to Towson. It's mostly money, but sometimes it could be something like art or property. You know, the sky's the limit there. But the majority of it is funding. So as mentioned, you all might have a fundraiser for like the Student Emergency Fund. The foundation manages that. I have a scholarship that I created for students in the College of Business and Economics in Prince George's County. So my scholarship funds go into that. We also have special programs. We have a grant program that we administer. It's $100,000 a year for faculty, staff, and student projects that are very innovative. So, you know, a lot of times your professors are applying for funding with the National Science Foundation or other foundations and the government, state and federal government. We created our own grant program so that we could be a little bit more creative and kind of dialed into what's happening at the university. In addition to that, we manage an investment portfolio. So who are our College of Business and Economics majors here? Anybody? All right, nice. I'm also on the advisory board for CBE. So basically what happens is once someone donates money and establishes a scholarship, they go for years and years. They pay a certain amount of money and it becomes an endowment. So that means it's in perpetuity, permanent, as long as the funding is available. So just like I don't know if any of you have jobs where you are putting into a 401k or something along those lines, an investment fund, but we have an investment fund because we want to make sure that the money is going to last, right? So it's about $100 million overall right now, and there are 700 different streams of funds there. Many of them are scholarships, but some of them are for the colleges to just run programs. They have money available to do specific things. We get about another, let's think, last year we gave out over 700 scholarships from the foundation, from the endowments, and then another 400 scholarships from self-funded scholarships. So here's the difference. When I established my scholarship, $1,000 a year, I had to pay into it. If I didn't pay into it, it wasn't administered. But once you pay enough money for it to become an endowment, it goes into the cycle of the investment portfolio. That means it's earning money with that $100 million. So my $1,000 multiplies. So we gave about 400 scholarships last year from self-funded scholarships and about 700 from the endowment. So it's really cool. One of the things that I love about it is that we make the money come to life in what you need and how you experience Towson. For example, during the pandemic, we gave some funds for the Student Emergency Fund because it was just very precarious during that time. Last year, we provided some funding for the TU Cyber Center. So we're pretty much the stewards of all of the gifts. The second part of what we do is advocacy. So we have about 27 members now. No, we have 28 members now. And part of our job is to go out and promote Towson. So as an alumna, I'm super proud. You know, it's really great for me to be able to do that. It's a lot of fun. We go to different events. We're meeting with potential partners. We're meeting with businesses to come in and do mentoring for you all, to provide internships, to provide money. Anybody here a student athlete? Nice, thank you. So one of our alumni, Fran Soitzman, established the Athletes Academic Center late last year. And so now they have a place where they can study in addition to everything else that they're doing. So I have to say our athletes really perform beautifully from an academic standpoint. There's really a big emphasis there. So about $1 million went into that with people that created the Nancy Grasmick Institute for Leadership. So we have people that can come here to learn to be great empathetic leaders as a result of the funding that Nancy Grasmick provided. So there's all kinds of little pieces like that, but that advocacy is what brings people in. So of course, you know, Dr. Schatzel, who just recently left, did a lot in Annapolis with the General Assembly to get funding for the College of Health Professions building and the Science Complex, and really just making sure that we have what we need. So yeah, so that's pretty much our role. And like I said, we just actually doubled the staff, the size of the foundation board. So we want to make sure that it's not just people coming to meetings, you know, quarterly or working on a committee, but we want to see people at basketball games. We want to come to the 25th anniversary of the TU dance, which was phenomenal. We want to come to plays, you know, we want to see people out and about and be proud and talking about Towson. So the other thing I just wanted to mention, just my own story. You know, when I was here, my mom was a single parent of 3 girls, and I wasn't broke. I was broke when I was at Towson. So every semester, I wasn't really sure whether I was going to get to finish. So for me to be in a position now where I'm president of the foundation board is like, it is next level and very surreal for me because, you know, and I would say our Black student population was about 3% when I was here, and we were really not seen. So as I pledged Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated while I was here, BU chapter. So to see the HBCU memorial, to see Towson honor Ms. Barnes and Ms. Harris, the first African-American graduates of TU in 1959, the inclusivity that I see, made me want to be part of the change. Because Towson really wasn't looking for me before Dr. Schatzel got here. And so I've been on the foundation board for a little over 6 years. I'm entering my 7th and then my 2nd year in CBE. So I just want to say that you all are part of the change. you all are Towson's present and future. So I hope that you stay connected after you leave, because you're a wonderful ambassador about your experience and what Towson has given you. And Towson really created the foundation for me in the College of Business and enabled me to do everything that I could to change the trajectory of my family for my boys. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, Sora.
Hi, Laura.
My question is, what's the difference between the EU Life Foundation and the regular one? The student, yeah, the student one.
The Student Foundation? Well, okay, so the Towson University Foundation is sanctioned not only by Towson University, but by the University System of Maryland. So it's an official 501c3, meaning it's a nonprofit arm of Towson University. So we are very closely aligned, but it's an independent organization. And that's because of the fiscal responsibility. You always want to make sure that the people who are going to spend the money aren't the people who get the money. So you have a lot of checks and balances there. So that's what I would say is one of the major differences, where a student foundation is likely sanctioned by only Towson, but we are part of the University System of Maryland. So we have just a whole bunch of reports that we have to submit about our financial stewardship and our fiscal responsibility. So it's like a thing, it's a thing. And the USM manages a very small portion of our portfolio, but we self-manage. We have a company that manages our fund, and we tend to perform better than the other universities in the system. That's a great question. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Yes.
Good afternoon. So last year, I used to work in the admin office. So I used to do philanthropy about the T fund and all the other funds.
Yep.
So it's good to hear that them calls I did, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me time. Seriously. That's a lot.
It was.
That's a lot.
It was. But I just want to know, just other than the calls, what other ways do you guys try to just reach out to graduates and so that can increase participation?
Yeah, that's a great question. So thank you for that. And again, thank you for your time. So the phone-a-thon is just one way that we do fundraising and bring an emphasis to philanthropy. So I would say the Office of Advancement is really ramping up social media. So I've been seeing a lot more from Towson on social media to promote the university. We have a pretty active alumni association. So they do events all over the country. They had something, I think, just last week in Florida or a couple weeks ago for the Orioles spring break training. But I attended something in LA. So they really try to reach out to alumni that way. Also, when there's a particular campaign, like when they were trying to raise money for the science complex, before we had money, before ground was ever broken, they'll create different campaigns for it, and they'll highlight Towson students and then just blast it out. One of my dear friends is a physician's assistant on a transplant team, and she was featured among 4 students for the science complex. I did a video for the RISE campaign that started in 21, where we're working to raise $100 million by the end of this academic year. We're at about 97 million right now. So there's always more to do, especially to appeal to alumni. And so they're really working on how to ramp that up and pull people in, because as Dr. Bradshaw said, we have a lot of commuters, so sometimes people don't feel connected, or they're attending one of the other campuses and don't feel as connected. So we're really working hard. So if you all have any ideas about how to attract alumni, please let us know. Because there's 175,000, almost 180,000 TU alumni, and we're just scratching the surface there. So that's a great question. Yeah.
Can I pick them right here? I also know that there's some donors that are that repeat that like give like big donations.
Yeah.
So is there any tactics that you guys use to try to increase big donations, or do you guys, are y'all just okay with just the small donations and focusing on how much people you can get, like even if it's $5? Because at least you like, you can just get $5 and that'll be fine. And it would be like yes or no.
Yeah, that's true. We'll take anything. So look, it all does add up. Like when we were raising money for the HBCU memorial, all the Deltas were getting together and we were like, come on, y'all, it's 25 a person. You have $25, let's do this. So sometimes, I will say, I told you, I kind of grew up in scarcity, right? So I thought you had to be rich to donate, to be philanthropic. And so when I got to a position where I could create a scholarship, it was $1,000 that I put in, and everything matters because I've had a chance to meet every one of my students and I know what difference it makes. You know what I'm saying? So if it's $5, give $5. We also go to the big donors and say, hey, here's a big need we have, whether it's the Student Emergency Fund or the College of Health Professions, or our cyber center. We'll go to some of our alumni who specialize in those areas, who work in businesses. Maybe they can even do a match. So sometimes it'll be something specific, and sometimes it'll be like, hey, thanks for that milli. Now we need another milli for this thing. So you can show them what happened with the money that they gave. And then that makes them want to give more. It makes me want to, I give more than $1,000 to Towson now. But $1,000 is my family legacy to thank Towson for what they did for me. But it does make me want to give more, especially around times like the Student Emergency Fund and some of the other special programs that are near and dear to my heart. So that's a good question. So we'll take it all. And yeah, there's some specific asks for people who have more resources and can really help us even more.
Are there any other questions for President Provost? Fantastic. Thank you so much. Senator Brown.
Point of personal privilege.
Granted. All right, is there any public participation or student concerns? Is there a hand back there? Oh, you're perfectly fine, you're perfectly fine. All right, great. So we'll now move to communications and advisory board. Maddie, you know.
Good afternoon. I'm here today because Advisor Harris is not here. She's away at a conference, so I'm here to observe. But I just want to say the Student Affairs Leadership Awards nominations were until yesterday, so some of you may have been nominated, and congratulations. However, you have to remember to accept your nomination over email. So please read your emails, and then you might have to provide a resume. So please do that by the 7th or the 8th, I think it is. So 7th, so that means you got nominated. Okay, so please make sure that you accept your nomination or you will not be in the running. The leadership awards are in May. So if you do win an award, you will be invited to the banquet at the end of the year. Here, it's also a lot of exams this week, so please make sure you're taking care of yourself, papers, things like that, from sleep to hydration to eating, because you are of no use if you are not healthy. You cannot study, you cannot do things. So please make sure you're taking care of yourself, kind of like when an airplane, the flight attendant says, put the oxygen on, and then help your family. Make sure you're taking care of yourself first, and then your neighbors and your friends. So because we're a care and community here. So thank you for everything. And with that, I rest.
Organization school. Senator McGuire, please pass the microphone, please. All right, government operations.
No report.
Point of personal privilege. Granted, Rules Committee.
Happy I heard the Senate week, everyone. There's nothing really too much to report on the rules committee, but overall, just know that I'm working on the presentation for all the constitutional changes, and that'll be coming out very soon. With that, I yield.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Tiger Tuesday and happy I Heard the Senate Week. Thank you, Vice President Edwards, for planning this amazing week full of initiatives. We really do appreciate our senators. And I was gonna welcome our guests. It seems like most cleared out, but thank you for those that are here still here with us. Welcome to Towson SGA. Feel free to stick around if you have any questions. And yeah, we hope you enjoy your time here. I have a few updates. I'll try to be swift and I kind of try to do it chronologically, but bear with me if it's a bit much. First off, Admitted Students Day this past weekend, we hosted our first 3 rounds of it. So thank you to Treasurer Correa and Vice President Edwards for joining me to welcome over 1,500 admitted students. Really exciting stuff, and we hope to encourage them to actually commit to TU. Some academic senate updates from our meeting yesterday. Chief Justice McNeil mentioned some of the new programs that we're going to be exploring. So the academic senate actually yesterday we approved a new program proposal for Communications and Advocacy Master of Arts program within COFAC. Also a new program proposal from the Communications Department for Professional Communication Minor. And then a renaming of the facility that I mentioned last week also did get approved by the Academic Senate for renaming of a lower practice field to the John B. Yingling and Family Performance Center. So that was approved yesterday. And then also the College of Business and Economics Dean search is coming to a close. All the finalists have been on our campus and talked with university stakeholders, and the decision will be coming soon regarding the CBE meeting. We'll also be hosting the University System of Maryland Student Council April meeting. So myself, along with Marcus Flaw, the president of the Graduate Student Association, we're going to be welcoming all of our USM sister institutions to our campus. Thank you, Director Malash, who's helping me kind of get all of the details together last minute. As you know, stuff with the state is kind of like, do it now. It's next week. So we're going to be getting that meeting together. So thank you again for your flexibility with that. We're in that meeting, we'll be discussing paternity leave and also awards to degrees that have passed away, our posthumous degree awarding. It's been kind of a semester and year-long conversation. So hopefully, I think there'll kind of be a culminating discussion before it goes on to the Board of Regents. And I did mention the Student Affairs Leadership Awards. Thank you to everyone that submitted your nominations. If you were nominated, be sure to confirm and accept the nomination by Friday at 12 noon, or else you'll forfeit your nomination. And also Director Johnstone, Chief of Staff Moody, myself, and Freshman Council Member Jallo will be members on the nominating committee. So we'll be reviewing the awards. Thank you all for volunteering to be on that committee. I also met with Nathan from Campus Rec regarding a sports club's athletic trainer position. So I'm meeting with Treasurer Correa to see, we'll definitely loop in Rep Thompson to see kind of how we can better support there. I'm not sure if Nathan, okay, good. So we're all on the same page there. Also in talks with the pool to host an event at the end of the semester. So if anybody is interested in planning something at the pool, let me know. Like you can raise your hand now and text me later. You know how it goes, like message the group me. But if you're interested in planning an event at the pool, they reached out to us, and I think it's going to be something exciting to do. So yeah, like a finals de-stress or something like that. Just let me know. And finally, our Suit Up program, our professional business attire program in partnership with the Career Center. The logo was finally made. Our marketing department is going to revamp the flyers so we can get that pumped out. Yeah, really exciting program that we're going to be offering with the Career Center for professional attire. The legislative session closes next week. I know I'm excited. I think Vice President Edwards is also excited. No more MGA, but they're wrapping up on all the bills and just so some legislative updates. Vice President Bradshaw mentioned PhD and R2 programs. And so we are on track, hopefully, to receive all of the funding for our R2 initiatives, including new faculty, our doctoral costs, our library budgeting allocations, and graduate assistant positions. So we are on track to receive that funding from the state. We're also on target to meet and open the funding deadlines for the College of Health Professions. Next summer, we're receiving that last portion of funding and hopeful to receive funding to renovate Smith Hall. It'll be like a complete revamp of the building, and it'll be exciting things for faculty, even math majors, and kind of just across disciplinary buildings. So really excited for that update. And these are all great things, but unfortunately, Towson remains the lowest funded institution in the USM per student. And so that's something that I'll continue driving the urgency with through the presidential search. Advisor Reynolds also on that committee, we have President Primrose. So we're pressing that with the presidential search and also our shared governance body. We are unfortunately just the least funded in the USM per student, but we're still doing a lot of great things. So definitely noteworthy. Lastly, I have an alumni association board meeting in late April. And some exciting news about that. We'll be canceling our general assembly on May 2nd for a networking event with our past 5 alumni association boards and our graduate student association. So the SGA, GSA can meet with alumni who, started businesses or working like really good companies, work for the state lobbyists, all sorts of things like that. So that's something exciting to look for. And I think I might have said lastly, but I think this is my real lastly, our stage party representatives. I was tasked with identifying. So Chief of Staff Moody will be serving as a stage party rep for the College of Business and Economics. Senator Brown will be serving for the stage party rep for the College of Liberal Arts. Director Sutton will be serving as a stage party rep for the College of Education. Director Thomas will be serving as a stage party rep for the College of Health Professions. Director Malash will be serving as the stage party rep for the College of Fine Arts and Communication. And Senator McGuire will be serving as the stage party rep for the Fisher College of Science and Mathematics. Congratulations for 4 years or however many years of hard work. Sad to see you all go. So proud of you all, and like I said, sad to see y'all go. And without further ado, our member of the week, this person is being recognized for not only their work during budget hearing, but their work really all year long, kind of playing a support role at different events, making sure they're showing up and doing their duty as a senator. So congratulations, Senator Hicks. With that, all right, Cindy. See, next time. All right, great. Attorney Grant.
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone, and happy I Heart the Senate Week, senators. Thank you to all the senators that have been coming out to budget hearings. I really do appreciate it. We've been moving fast. Tomorrow is the last day. I had to add an extra day. There's only 2 organizations, so if you are in the office or you can stop by, please do. I did send out the sign-up genius of the student orgs who have signed up, so just check that. If not, I can drop it in the chat. Senator White. I will check the sign-up genius. The sign-up genius was like from 1 to 5 as well, but it's like 2 student orgs. They're like at 3, and I don't recall the other time, but I can definitely check for you. Reminder, April 21st at 5 p.m. is the last day for funding requests. So you guys did hear President Colquitt mentioned if you wanted to host an event at the pool, please make sure you get your funding request in at time and double check it to make sure that the links work. As I mentioned, there's a whole new process. I have to go in individually and put every vendor in, and then it goes to 3 different people, which is Advisor Harris, Marnice, and Victoria. So it's very tedious. Please be on top of that. And then timesheets are due this Thursday at 5 p.m. If you are a paid member, please make sure to have them in by then. And if not, they will not be approved. And make sure they match up with your punch cards. Please and thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No, thank you. With that, I yield.
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone. So just a couple of announcements. We do have a pre-meeting opening, which is the last opening for pre-meeting next week, April 13th. So if you would like to host a pre-meeting, please let me know. That's the only thing available for the rest of the school year. Also, just remember that our banquet is May 12th at 6 p.m. Our theme will be dropping on Monday through my weekly email. If you have any questions about what to wear and stuff, but it is formal attire. And if you all get your community service hours done, then everyone should be invited. We do have 5 community service hours, really. I mean, we have 5 events this month, just for community service. Also, the superlative link will be dropping on Monday as well. So make sure you all are just keeping a lookout for my Monday meeting at 8 a.m. And make sure you all are just voting on superlatives. And yes, and just one final comment about elections. We all know that they start on Friday, but there's still a lot of campaigning talk in the office. So can we just please Once again, refrain from that. Yeah, it seems like we've been having a problem with that this week. So there's no discussion about elections campaigning inside of our SDA office, the campaign and things like that just don't exist. Okay, any questions about that? Oh, and SDA events too, please remember that, when you all are at SDA events, you all cannot campaign and things like that. In the office, like, please don't wear buttons, all that, like, we're really strict about that, so, yeah, any questions about that? What that you?
Department of Academic Affairs.
Hi, guys. All right, we're having a meeting with the board again next week, so if you guys have anything, you can message me or Jordan. So Choreo guys coming up is going to be on May 12th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So please come out to support us and stay tuned for more information and volunteer for that day. Any questions? That are you.
Department of Civic Engagement.
Happy Tiger Tuesday and happy I Heart Sun Week. We had the Eco Coalition meeting yesterday. We discussed various issues concerning the environment on campus, events. We have plenty of things coming up. As you guys know, it is Earth Month, so there's definitely going to be plenty of events for you guys to go through, and I will be sure to keep you updated for that. We have the tentative date for the Greek Life Can Food Drive, titled Can Instruction. I know, kind of cute. It should be May 5th from 5 to 7. However, we are still waiting on confirmations for that, but as soon as we have it, I will let you know. I attended our bi-weekly meetings with Patricia Watson, the Assistant Director of Sustainability. It was a pretty chill meeting. The one cool thing that we have to report is that the Glen Arboretum is now a Tier 2 Arboretum, which is better than it was beforehand. I'm pretty sure it is just a title, maybe with some funding attached, but it's not terribly important. All right, the big event is coming up soon. As I am a facilitator, it is imperative that you guys all sign up. It is mandatory. There was a link that was sent to you guys from Director Traore not too long ago, about a week ago. It has a link that you can use to sign up and everything. When you're signing up, please just put down that you want to be with the Student Government Association. And if we can get that in by Friday, that would be wonderful. And with that, any questions?
Okay, so for the Can Food Live with the Greek Life on May 5th, are all the Greek Life councils a part of that?
Yes, they should be. I reached out to all of them. They should all be know-how about that, and we do plan on following up in the future.
Okay, and then for the big event, I'm a facilitator as well, so I don't have to fill out the form, right?
No, you do.
Oh, I do, right, bet.
Any other questions? All right, with that yield.
Department of Communications.
Hey, everybody, just a reminder, tomorrow is the an 80s Justice Community Service event. We're partnering with the Baltimore Hunger Project. So we're just gonna make cards for, heartfelt cards for children, and they're gonna go in their lunch boxes. You don't need to bring anything, everything can be provided, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. It's from 4:30 to 5:30. And there is a sign up, but if you just didn't sign up, it's okay. Yeah.
What's up with the cup service hours?
Yeah, it's a community service today. So yeah, what else? Oh, some of the posts that were posted on SGA, the events that are coming up this week. There's a run for SGA tabling event tomorrow, 3:30 to 5:30, for the union, so you guys should go to that. SGA petitions are due at 4 p.m. on Friday. And then I'll let Director Randy, I'll speak more about it, but Passion with Passion is today. Okay, Passion, I'm so sorry. And then it's TikTok Tuesday. Yeah, that's my favorite. Excited to see 2 people from the exec, 2 people from legislative, and let's just have all of J board, honestly. Okay, thank you. Any questions? That are you?
When you mentioned the legislative branch, can you mention messaging on that, please? Department of Community Outreach.
Hi, everyone. Just a few volunteering opportunities to share with y'all today.
I mentioned last week that we have a service event at Meals on Wheels on April 21st. So if you're interested, you can still let us know. And the Graduate Student Association invited us to a service event with them. It's gonna be at Oregon Ridge Park on April 15th. There's a form that you have to fill out if you wanna participate in that. I'll be sending it out soon, later tonight. Please fill it out by April 11, and if you have any question, you can text me. Lastly, the visit at John Hopkins Children's Center will be on April 28th. It's on a Friday at 11 a.m. We have limited space, so if you're interested in that, you can let us know. Any questions?
Department Diversity Inclusion.
Hi, everyone. We have a good Tuesday and happy. I heard the Senate week. Much love to all of you. So I'm going to just two announcements. The first is not to you. We just had some ECS issues, so we had to push it back 1 week. So it's now happening April 13th next week. It'll be the same time from 1:30 to 4:30. It's going to be outside Tiger Plaza, so hopefully it'll be nice like it is today and everything. And like I mentioned last week, we're going to have like orgs and departments coming out to educate students. It'll be really fun and stuff. We'll have merchant food, all of that fun stuff and everything. And like I mentioned, I'll probably need some help with some of the tabling and stuff. So look on the group chat, I'll probably put a sign up genius if you could help out to get some office hours in. And then, yeah, and me and Representative Winslow, we had a meeting with Chris Strong, who's doing the neurodiverse thing for spring of 23. So we were talking with them about like, potentially helping out and collaborating. And they were talking about how we can maybe help out with making sensory kits. That's something that maybe me and the community outreach department may do later this month. So stay tuned for that. And I know Representative Winslow will also want to do an event with them, ideally in May, to end off the year and everything like that, which is very exciting. So you can get more details about that later and everything. So yes, I'm very excited about that. So yeah, so that's pretty much my announcements. I don't have any questions. All right, with that, I yield.
Department of Health and Wellness. Department of Higher Education. Department of Health and Wellness.
Apologies, Dr. Thomas sent her report to me. Let's pull it up. Be prepared, it's long. It's not that long, but you did get the warning. Hello, everyone. Happy Tiger Tuesday and happy Senators Week. I wish I could be present with you all today and next week, but I'm working at the hospital. However, I still have exciting information to share. One, Denim Day is happening on Tuesday, April 18th. Denim Day was created in 1999 in honor of a woman who was victim blamed in court because her jeans were too tight. Since then, universities across the world have stood in solidarity by designating a day for everyone to wear denim. Please wear jeans and join us in Paul's Pavilion on April 18th as we move toward eliminating victim blaming. All SGA members will also be able to wear their jeans to GA that day. 2, walk a mile in their shoes is a walk happening at GBMC on Saturday, April 22nd from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Every year, they raise over $100,000 to support GBMC's sexual assault and forensic examination and domestic violence programs. I will send out a link for people who are interested to sign up by the end of this week. Lastly, don't forget that we have another walk, the Out of the Darkness Walk for Suicide Prevention, which is taking place on May 6th at Towson Town Field from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Volunteers from SGA will receive community service hours from this event. The last day to sign up is Sunday, April 9th, so please do that as soon as possible. The sign-up link is in GroupMe, but I will send it again as a reminder. If anyone has any questions or concerns for me, please message me at any time. Have a happy and healthy week, Dr. Thomas, with the red heart.
Higher Education.
Hi again, I'm just going to be reading out for Taylor. Happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone, and happy Financial Literacy Month. I hope you're all having a great day, and I'm sad I can't be with you. Exit started back this last Friday, and mentors had a great time spending time with the students there. Exit will resume on April 14th due to their school closures for spring break. On April 28th, we will be hosting a Young Professionals panel where students will be able to engage with 8 to 10 young professionals that gained a job through going to university or school. If you have any suggestions on panelists, please let us know. Our next collab with Crop will be on Wednesday, April 12th from 12 to 2 p.m. Please let me know if you're interested in helping out. The department is also planning an event with the library, so please be on the lookout for that. Thank you.
Department of Legislative Affairs,
No report.
Department of Special Projects.
Hey everyone, happy Tiger Tuesday. Just a few things. So if you're sending your event proposal, make sure it's 4 to 6 weeks before your actual event. Also, when sending an email to Director Malash, make sure you guys CC me in there. And on your event proposal, make sure you add as much as detail possible, which includes estimated attendance, outside food vendors, and everything like that. And any questions, comments, concerns? No. For that, I do.
That was a great report. Department of Marketing.
Happy Tiger Tuesday, just a regular 10 days in advance, be descriptive, and I appreciate when y'all remind me, you know, yeah. And remember, just because we talked about it in person doesn't mean I'll remember putting email. Yeah, with that, I mean,
Department of Student Organizations.
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everybody. So the Department of Student Organization, we had a town hall last week Wednesday, and it was great. We also got some good feedbacks, and most of the questions and concerns were about budgeting, and we were able to address those questions. And for next Tiger Org Tuesday, student org department will do the SJ tabling on the 25th of April. That's this month. So, yeah, add that to your agenda and please show it. Thank you. Well, any questions? Okay, we're done.
Turn around.
Point of person.
Granny. Yeah, let me turn around. It's hard to say, like, please. Department of Student.
Hi everyone, so tonight at 7 p.m. we'll be having a collaborative event with Passion. We'll have free quesadillas, so you know if you got 2 left feet, make them left and right feet, yeah. And it'll be in West Village Commons Ballroom A, and Director Armand and I will be leaving soon to go over and set up. Any questions? Okay, thanks.
Hi, everyone. So like Jordan mentioned, we've been in the search for a second athletic trainer. We have one right now, Lindsay. She's incredible. But the amount of students she's been seeing every week has continued to grow. Previous semesters, she would see on average maybe 40 students a day. Now she's seeing up to 80 students a day. So we're in significant need of a second athletic trainer. As of now, for our contract with MedStar Health, we were able to get a physical therapist from their program to come on Mondays and Wednesdays to provide some extra support for our students. But yeah, we're still in search for another athletic trainer. Some other updates from sport clubs. We sent out our April newsletter this past week. Clubs are also supposed to submit their reversion form. So if they have any excess money left over in their budget accounts, they can revert that back to the sport club office. And clubs can also fill out surplus grant requests. So that money can go towards clubs that need extra money. So for example, if a club qualifies for a national competition, they're able to, and they don't have that amount of funds in their budget left, they can request a surplus grant. There are specific requirements based on their tier level that limit how much money they are able to request through that. Lastly, There's 2 home events this weekend on April 8th, which is Saturday. Women's soccer and field hockey have events. One's on Birdie Field 1, the other's on Birdie Field 2. I think soccer's at 11 and field hockey's at 2. Does anyone have any questions? With that, I yield.
Transfer student representative.
Good evening, everyone. So yesterday we had our first practice for the pageant last Thursday. And we also met with ECS to discuss the lighting and sound Black Friday. Yesterday we had a special event where current pageant members met Ms. Black PU professors to learn more about how a pageant runs and feels for them to be more comfortable. And also, if anyone wants to help out with stage and tech crew, you can reach out and let the president know. So does anyone have any questions? Okay.
Actually, the only senator I love you guys say like so Officer Solicitor General.
Okay, happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone. I want to start by saying thank you to everybody that came on tonight this last week. It's been a lot. Yeah, everyone said they found the panel very informative, and that was my goal. So thank you. So we did pick an assistant dean and director for the student accountability and historic practices. Some of you may know her already because she is already at Towson. It's Danielle Woody. Yeah, so currently, like for the rest of the semester, me and Carol were talking, and since my job is to know the university policies, there are some things in our governing documents that don't align with the university policies. So that's about to take a big chunk of my time, just making sure that those align. And I just want to reiterate what Chief of Staff Moody said: no campaigning in the office, guys. To get you disqualified. So, any questions? Senator Wade.
You mentioned a fact about going through documents and making sure that I will.
You know, you may do whatever you please.
You mentioned the fact about going through documents and making sure that they were our documents were withstanding the Towson University standing. Isn't that the purview of Rules Committee?
It is, but no. I mean, Rules Committee, correct me if I'm wrong, pro tem, but the purpose of the Rules Committee is just to go through our documents and see where there are mistakes and where it should be fixed. Yeah, so what I'm doing is more so, because you remember those 2 J's back to back where it was who can say what. So we just have to make sure that our documents align with Towson University's policy because we are an organization under the Towson Corporation. Any other questions? And what can I do?
How's everybody doing today?
Great.
The moment you've been waiting for. All right, but so last week, you know, just been planning hard. This week is finally here, so I hope you guys are enjoying the festivities so far. Yesterday was good. Today, I hope you like your special entrance. You know, cool. All right, and the rest of the week, y'all enjoy as well. I've also been working with one of the senators for a piece of legislation that I'm looking to pass. Also, Chief of Staff Moody and I have been planning midnight brunch, trying to run that back again. So make that fun. As you see, there's a lot of bills on the document. And there's more like in my email too that's waiting. So good job. I see the legislative work that you all are doing. I'm proud of you all. You know, our hearts are week. Also, yes, I attended the Minute Students Day. I spoke there with our yeah. So basically that's kind of in our collaboration with the NSFP, kind of what Vice President Bradshaw was talking about. We're trying to help with the retention and help entice more students to come to Towson. It was very fun. I like the for the incoming freshmen is going to come. Also, as you heard with Director Thomas in her report, you will be allowed to wear jeans on April 18th. I love the shock that went around the room too. I saw some of the young out, so that was cool. I hope y'all do participate, because that will be the closest you'll ever get to dress down for the GA ever. So please put on jeans. Please put on jeans. And showcase your support for that. Yes. Is there any questions? Great, with that, I yield. Are there any appeals in court? No.
Granted. Are there any motions on the board? Senator White.
Because there's nothing in unfinished business, I motion to review Senate Bill 5.
You inquire.
Inquire, correct.
Does anyone second? Senator Crosby.
I second.
Okay, with that, we're now moving to a vote on inquiring on Senate Bill number 5. All those in favor? And please. Opposed? Abstaining? With that, we now begin to inquire on Senate Bill number 5. Senator McGuire, please take it away and answer some of the questions after presenting your legislation.
Alrighty, so Stephen kind of brought this idea to me, and we worked on it kind of a little bit. Just to kind of support, some of our RSO organizations, which are registered student organizations. Now, in the SGA, there's actually two different definitions of organizations that we have. We have RSOs and SBOs. RSOs are, I wish I had a PowerPoint, I didn't know I was going to present this today. But RSOs are a registered student organization. So that's the very first, once you do your advisor form, once you get 5 members, I think it is, once you do the paperwork, you start an organization, you become an RSO. Now, an RSO cannot become an SBO until like a year or two or later, I believe. Now, and this allows us, with this new fund that we are having, to allow them to kind of get the numbers of their RSO a little bit higher, because you do need 15 people max SBO in order to become an SBO organization and to receive tiger stripes and to also do, what's it called? Funding, yeah, budgets and stuff like that. So this is the kind of bill. I know we still have to work out kind of lingo in GovOps, but the idea is allow RSO organizations to just receive a little bit of money for recruitment. Nothing crazy. We do have max limits for 300 on, I believe it's advertising around campus, like especially the on-screen slides and the slideshow. Sorry, my voice is dying. And then we also have the food, which is honestly the biggest expense of a lot of recruitment events. And we see that often in our budgets as well. A max of around $400, which is nothing crazy. It's probably like the whole recruitment period if they want to do a event, like 3 events or something like that. So
It's really just to fund down a fraction of what the food cost is for some of these recruitment events. Because no matter what, even on campus or off campus, they tend to charge a lot for recruitment events as well.
But overall, I think this is just a bigger issue than just pre-collect. I think we definitely want to make sure our new organizations that are coming onto campus. So if you want to start a new club, you're going to get the help from us in order to make sure that we are supporting and building, and then soon hopefully becoming a tier 4 organization at 1,000 through Tiger Stripes and stuff like that. Because honestly, we want to fund, as many involved groups as possible. What better way to start getting them in the process of SGA than to do this kind of recruitment grant? Is there any questions or anything?
Any questions? Deputy Chief Justice Abednego.
This question is for Treasurer Correa. Would you say that we're currently in a budgeted period?
Can you please reinstate your question?
So would you say that we're currently in a budgeted period, for,
Student works.
yeah,
Yes, we currently are in the budgeting period for fall 2023. So the budget process is at the end stage. We're doing allocations at this point.
so the reason I ask that is because in the financial policy, Article 7, Section 1, policy changes, it says that changes in the financial policy for student organization cannot occur during the budget period. However, changes can occur in the next semester with the recommendation of the rules committee and approval of 2/3 of the student body senate. So I believe that the changes that you guys are planning will have to go through rules and then it can be voted on by, in next year. So that's what I just want to clarify. Senator White.
So to fully understand, for all of my bills that I've basically submitted is a recommendation period. We all have to go through this session first before we go to committee. So even after I pass the GovOps and then go back to this floor, then we go back to rules committee. I do believe that's how our bill writing process is when we're editing constitutional documents. It's the bill about.
No, basically what we're saying is, since we are currently dealing with budget allocations, we cannot speak on this right now until next week, because correct me if I'm wrong, Treasurer Correa, we will be done with budget hearings then next week.
We should be.
Yeah.
Budget allocation day is April 7th. However, I would have to double check because I do not believe we're going to meet quorum. So budgets might have to be voted on during GA.
So basically, we're saying that right now, we cannot do anything about this in general assembly because of the financial policy, but you can take it to rules right now and do, you know, friendly amendments and stuff like that. But if you want this bill on the floor, it has to be after the budgeting.
Deputy Justice Adenika, would this goes on first reading, so it's not being confirmed today. Would that interfere with the policy that you stated? Can you also restate the policy? This is on first reading.
So can we, so can I recommend recess? Motion to recess.
What order? That can.
You can advise.
You can entertain a motion. You can suggest that a senator makes the motion, but you can't make any motions yourself. Senator Crosby.
I understand what it's saying, but if we voted, would it have to take change immediately? Like you said, we can't change it now when it's going to affect after we're done. For information.
Senator White.
Just like when we make movements for new members or certain things like that, we are able as senators, I do believe, to suspend Senate rules to vote on certain pieces of legislation. Am I correct on that? And that is either to the chair or to the advisor.
I don't, for this instance, I don't believe so, because it's not only just like the example you mentioned with the confirmation resolution, they're just confirmation resolutions. This is regarding the whole financial policy, so it's a bit different. So I don't believe you could just suspend Senate rules to go on it, because it'd be impacting so much things. Also, didn't go through the regular process of legislation through the rules committee and then appropriation, so I don't think that would happen this time.
Point of information to the chair. Can you, point of information to the justices. Can the justices fully outline the rules and steps for editing our financial policy and our constitutional policy for the group? Deputy Chief Justice Adenika.
I get to Chief Justice. For the Constitution, it requires 2/3, and it said it has to be voted on from 1,000 students, and then kind of enforce the subsequent year.
Correct, but I think Senator White was referencing the financial policy.
Our question was, what is the full editing process for our financial policy and our constitution? And it was the same word. So starting from the jump of the first thing out of the bill, all the way up to state. Can you say what the last part of the question?
No one gives Senator White a mic, please. Can you fully explain the policy from when a person writes a bill all the way in to when the bill passes and it becomes a constitutional amendment or becomes a financial policy amendment? Because that's what you're quoting, I think, correct? Vice President Edwards.
I believe this is why the recess was requested. Right. So let's see, it's just a time, so we're not sitting here quiet, that a senator would like to do that.
Senator Crosby. Make the motion to go to a recess. You state how long the recess is. Court order, Senator West making motion. Make a motion to go to a recess for 5 minutes. Okay, the motion. Senator Riggs. Okay, without another to a vote on a 5-minute recess. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? The motion has passed and we will begin a 5-minute recess. Please start the timer. Director, Assistant Director, Amy.
I didn't know that. Also, I got only once. You didn't even say here. I got.
I'm walking away.
minute and 44 seconds remaining. 1 minute and 42 seconds remaining now. Five seconds remaining. Please start making your way to your seats. Ten seconds remaining. Please start making your way to your seats. Please start making your way to your seats. Senator White and Senator McGuire, please take the floor again. Senator McGuire, please take the floor again. Recess has been ended.
Order of information. Are we in session?
Yes.
Is there any other questions to the bill?
Yeah, so after the recess, so this is my fault. So this is new business. So according to financial policy, it is budgeting. Right. So all we are saying is that you can speak on it today, but just be sure like if you bring it up in rules committee at the meeting.
Okay. I think the confusion is it's not a budget change, it's actually addition of a new grant. It would be a separate line, I think, in the financial policies. But it's not affecting budgeting really at all. That's all is that process. But this is just a new section where the treasurer can allocate, I don't know, like $3,000 or $5,000 or however much they want. And then boards can use our APROPs to request like a small amount of money towards to get food or advertising on campus, because it's really hard for us RSOs to really get engagement where we don't have the $125 recruitment banner or and food too. I think it's and then the banner as well. So if we can like help the new boards with some advertising, not really supplies, but advertising and recruitment food, that would be perfect.
Governor Bush, your lines.
Once again, I understand, but still since it's a change to the financial policy, then it should be like president in your rules.
Oh. Excuse me, Governor Bush, your lines. I just handed up. See,
The justice will quote exactly where that is in the documents. So we all know what it's around.
So Article 7, Section 1, under policy changes to financial policy for student orgs cannot occur during the regular period. However, changes can occur semester to semester with recommendations of the rules committee and approved by two-thirds of student body.
Point of information. To the chair, to the justice. This is not editing anything that has to do with student orgs. This is editing policy for grants that are not under student orgs.
Right.
Or student orgs policy.
Right, but Chief of Staff, I mean,
The reason why this is going to the rules committee is because it's a change to the HA government document. That's why it's going to the rules committee.
correct. I was actually about to see that again. President Colquitt.
Yes. I think this is the financial policy for student award. This whole document is the FPSO, so it cannot be changed during the budgeting period, which is set to end this week. This is first reading. The chair will make a committee recommendation, so it has to go to rules committee. We can view it on first reading. We will refer it to rules committee. They'll review it next week when budgeting process should be done. And come next GA, if we're not done student work budgeting, it can't go on the second reading. If we are, it can be second read and, we can proceed with the bill. So I think we can continue with first readings today. It's not making a change to the FPSO. Just make sure you recommend it to the rules committee and we can continue.
Thank you. That clear point of clarification, Senator White. Okay. Government Operations Chair Ryan.
Okay, so my question is, what's the exact reasoning for eliminating the grant review committee and just giving this two approach?
So that was on me. Personally, as a Senate, we all see the operations of what appropriations has done and the difference between appropriations and grant review. Approach doesn't necessarily do much right now because there's nothing really active going to it. So we have all these senators and all these Senate seats in that committee, but we have a separation of jobs and roles. I never understood the reason for that. And a few of us have mentioned it and talked about that the exact reason of just combining those two committees together because they basically somewhat do the same thing. So in other words, we're not necessarily wasting Senate resources and times and having two committees. It's just all taken care of by the appropriations committee. Does that kind of answer your question, Lauren?
Any more questions regarding Senate Bill number 5? Hearing none. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Ms. Briscoe, Administrative Assistant Briscoe.
Thank you. I just want to remind y'all, please speak into the mic. That's really important. Thank you.
Are there any other motions on the board? Senator Crosby.
Motion to inquire about Senate Bill 6.
Hold on a second. Senator Sedgwick. Okay, with that, I'm moving to a vote on inquiring on Senate Bill number 6. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? That would be begin to inquire on Senate Bill number 6. Senator White again.
Do you mind scrolling down for the example for me? So Senate Bill 6 basically gets rid of that Greek council line item down there in figure 1 and turns all 5 councils into their own independent line item. This is a edit to the financial policy, so I'm assuming that this will have to go to Rules Committee and go through the first reading. But this basically just gets rid of that one and creates all 5 councils to have their own line item budget, and opens up the ability for money to be added into those accounts based off of their population and need versus one account and then separated out to all 5 councils. Yes, American.
Any questions for Senator White? Deputy Chief Justice Adenga. Someone pass on mic.
So is there any chance, I don't know a lot about Greek quickly, but would there be like another Greek committee added by any chance in the future or anything?
Advisor Leonard.
Thank you. Thank you for recognizing. So this line has to do with councils. There aren't any more councils in the universe. So in the US, like there's only 5. There may be NALPO may come, which is a National Association of Latino Fraternal Organizations, but more than likely they won't be here in the next 7 years, so you don't really need to worry about that. This does not have to do with chapters. It has to do with the governing body councils, and those are the offices that are on the other side of your office, those three offices on the other side. So they are the governing bodies for the individual chapters.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Well, not comments, no comments. Any other questions on Senate Bill number 6? Senator McGuire.
So my only question is maybe a little bit more generic, but I know we're listing here saying that there should be separate lines. Should we better have it so that we have a section where we list all the sponsor organizations? Or do we just edit the budget lines as budget lines? So like I'm not sure if we're supposed to have the text in the sponsored organization saying there shall be a separate funding line for IFC entities and that whole line. Do we just be editing the spreadsheet? Or I don't know, I really don't know.
So I can somewhat answer. To the moment right now, and the treasurer, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the moment right now is that it is up to whoever is making the budget at the time, right, to choose to separate, or it has to be exactly on paper. But the ideal of this was to put it in on paper as an explanation and to make sure it was locked in on as a bill, as a resolution, in this case. Did that kind of answer your question in a way, or is that where
Dr. Johnstone?
Yeah, so we already kind of talked a little bit about this bill, and I appreciate your clarification. But I did just have one more question come to mind. Are the funds going to be distributed based on the population of each council? Like, are they going to get $2 per student, or is it going to be more like, okay, IFC has the most students, they get $3,000. Panhandle has the second highest students, they get 25,000 or 2,500. Or is it going to be based on the previous year's budget and then get distributed that way? What's your vision?
So my vision is naturally based off of the population of students, somewhat yes, and the need as well. So that need factor somewhat comes into play. So that's why the director in the Office of Sorority and Fraternal Life is a big factor when it comes to making those decisions. And I'm pretty sure I put that in there as well. Does that kind of answer your question? Like, yeah.
I'm not sure if there's also a bill that talks about changing, a part of the financial policy, Article 10 account funding restrictions, section, give me 1 second. Section 3, organizations not funded. So honor societies, fraternity and sorority like chapters. Wait. Yeah, never mind. I just read that out loud and I made connections. I apologize for that.
So can I point of order?
Yes.
So just to let you know, fraternities and sororities are not allowed to be funded by SGA because they discriminate. Okay, so Chi Phi does not allow women in the fraternity. Delta Sigma Theta does not allow men in their fraternity. Therefore, they discriminate. You're not allowed to have student organizations to be funded. It's a federal law. It's called an all-comers law. So if you have a male a cappella group, they're not allowed to be funded unless you have a female a cappella group or a co-ed organization. So just so you all understand that for like a learning moment right now, you're not allowed to give money to an organization that discriminates, okay, based on gender, race, whatever it may be, unless there is a opposite organization there for them, for somebody else to go to the other organization. Does that make sense? So that's why we do not give money to, there's no budgeted money for any fraternity. However, the councils are there to represent the opposite genders. So you have IFC, you have Panhellenic, right? So you got a male and a female group. Then you have the MPHC, which is what? Co-ed. So there doesn't need to be a male or female. Then you have the MGC, which is what? Co-ed. And you have the IGC, which is what? Co-ed. So all these councils are allowed to be funded. So that's the difference between what we're doing. And then just one more point. So I'm not sure if this really needs to be a bill from an advisor's issue. So I'm just stating, so if SBA as the budgeting organization gives the councils a certain amount of money, let's say, I'm just making this up, $6,000. It can be distributed to the 5 different councils by numeric value of the people that are in the councils. So for example, if IFC has 400 people and Panhellenic has 600 people and whatever, you figure it out by the councils, and then you break it down by percentage of the money, and that's how the money gets distributed to each of the councils. I'm not sure if this really needs to be a bill. It's just something that just needs to be done during the budgeting process when the budget, when the treasurer sits with the advisors and figures this out. I just think that you all need to decide if it's a numeric distribution by percentage. That's it. Like, it's not a language or any change in policies or anything. It's just a budgeting. It's an overall budgeting process. That's it. Because the line stays the same. The line is SGA gives the money to the line, and then we figure out the percentage of how it goes. So you're not changing anything. It's like a redundant policy. Huh? Right. So sure, if you want to do this to lock it to this language, that makes sense. But sure, I got you.
Thank you, Advisor Leno. Any questions regarding this the legislation? Hearing none, thank you. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator White.
A motion to inquire on Senate Bill 7 and 8 jointly because they both work together. Can I do that? I don't think so.
I don't think you can do that.
I don't think I can either. A motion to inquire on Senate Bill 7.
Okay, is anyone second? Senator Crosby.
Second.
With that, we're now moving to a vote on inquiring on Senate Bill number 7. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? With that, we will now begin to inquire on Senate Bill number 7. Take it away.
Senate Bill 7 basically creates a new committee and also creates some sort of consistency. It removes the grant review committee and the financial policy, and it's removing the grant review committee and the Constitution, as well as the bylaws, which is on Senate Bill 8. I know the justices are going to probably explain the policy fully, but I'm almost certain that this has to go on the ballot to be voted on because this is a constitutional amendment after it goes to the rules and the laws and this floor.
Yeah, exactly.
So to fully outline, the main reason one is to create a Senate Oversight Committee. It is to basically form some sort of legislative oversight over this body. I know the justices do a great job along with Kayla, who does a great job, but there always should be multiple forms of checks and balances and that separation of power. So just like there's oversight in the executive branch, there should still be somewhat of an oversight in a legislative branch as well. And that's exactly how we do it federally. Any questions for me? Yes, sir.
So my interpretation of the legislation will be the purpose of it was to have an overseer for the legislative branch, correct?
No, it will be an oversight committee, just like the Solicitor General is here to somewhat create oversight for us as senators and us as you all as directors, and just like the Attorney General has the ability and right to write PDRs as our overseer and person in charge of all of us as well, so to keep us in check. That's what the legislative branch oversight committee does. It basically is another person that is another person along with a group of senators to be able to act as an overseeing body for the executive branch and judicial branch and us and senators and certain senators as well. Does that come to answer your question?
Yeah. Anyone have any other questions? Vice President Edwards.
So this person, or this committee wouldn't be taking the place of the Solicitor General, that would be joining?
No, it's completely three different separate entities, this legislative oversight, who will be investigating and reviewing any conduct or anything deemed necessary that is sent to the committee. Versus Solicitor General will have their own procedure and policy for it.
So what would be an example of something that would be sent to this committee?
So if a person, or senator felt the need to report a action of a executive member, and it feels like that the Solicitor General may or may not have done that, handled it correctly, or not, a person could have sent it to the Oversight Committee for a review to investigate and to see, or maybe be able to see or understand something that the Solicitor General may or may not have missed.
So this committee is over the Solicitor General?
Nope, it's an example, it's an equal partner.
So, okay, so what if the committee disagrees with the Solicitor General, then what?
Then the committee stands, then the next step actually is to go to the justices. For the right end of this bill and the other bill, is the justices break whatever the final decisions say. That said, the Attorney General is another person that is able to write PDRs, correct? Yes, is the only person to write PDRs, correct?
Correct.
So this way, that's another view of the Legislative Oversight Committee, is to be able to write PDRs as a body for a member or for somebody as well.
Okay, so this is, okay, so just for my understanding. So say, for example, a senator received a PDR from the Attorney General, right? They didn't like that.
They must challenge it to the justices. They can't challenge it to the committee.
Okay,
But-
so say a senator requested a PDR against an executive board member. Then it would go to the committee?
It can go to the committee, or it can go to the Attorney General, whoever that senator feels as the best course of action. But the committee also has the ability to take that extra step to review and find a way to somewhat dissolve a problem besides going to a PDR.
So the senator gets a choice as to where their PDR of the executive board member can go.
No, kind of in a way. It's whatever the senator feels like they will get the best resolve done. Because, yeah. So, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Mayor Crosby. This is just like a two-part question for understanding. So the goal of this is to basically have it where everybody can oversee each other.
Yes, that form of checks and balances, that natural form of checks and balances.
So would you be open to just making a committee that holds the Solicitor General, the Attorney General, and then some members of the Senate, so that way everybody's a part of the accountability process?
No,
Because,
and we'll explain why.
wait, you've not done this question. I was gonna say, because Vice President Edwards II posed a good question where if these bodies disagree with each other, then what happens? Because now you have three people to make decisions on accountability, if not everybody's on the same page.
So, sorry. So to the answer to the second half of that question, it will go to the justices. Because the justices, at the end of the day, first, Solicitor General was somewhat separate from the justices. They have zero ruling or meaning into that. So the next step will go to the justices, and the justices will have a final say. To the first part of your question, the ideal of this committee is to create a somewhat form of separation of powers between the legislative branch, the executive branch. So yes, the executive branch has their own procedures and powers to do such. And yes, the legislative branch has outlined their own procedures and powers to do such as well. And they may disagree, they may not agree, but that is that extra step for the legislative branch, is to be able to sit there and say, yes, we hear you, we are here. We will take that extra step as us seven, I do believe I put on that committee, to somewhat investigate and somewhat look over what may have been missed by the Attorney General or the Solicitor General. Just the general problem.
Okay, so this is a question because we don't have, like, I usually read over it before we get it, but just if I'm repeating something, that's why. So what I'm just a little confused, like I'm not against it, but I'm a little confused. So what I do is I oversee the executive for it. So when someone files a complaint, that's what I do. So are you suggesting that? So this Bree gets a PDR. She goes to Attorney General on SRA. She doesn't like his decision. She comes to me. She still doesn't like the decision. She goes to the committee? No?
Senator White.
So
answer the question.
I think it's caught up on this process in some way, just like federal government wise, a little bit. When the executive board or the executive branch has probably either done something wrong or has done something that is questionable, Congress naturally breaks into that circle of legislative oversight and start having hearings and committees to try to figure out, one, the best way to fix the problem or to improve on the system or the problem, or to somewhat form a disciplinary action. Just like you see the example of oversight committee or judiciary committee in Congress dealing with impeachment and styles like that. Basically, what this committee does is a double between oversight and judiciary and away legislatively, and takes that extra step to, one, investigate any problems that the Attorney General may have missed or you may have missed, and two, somewhat forms and reviews situations that may or may not have happened, or policies that may or may not have happened in the executive branch as well. Does that answer your question?
Senator Sedgwick.
Just clear, you said if it's not resolved in this committee, it will go to the judicial branch, right?
If it's a split decision somewhat from the Attorney General or our committee, our next step would be judicial branch, because policy wise,
Okay, so my
branch,
thing
all
is,
that.
if it's going to end up on the judicial branch, isn't that where it already goes when you want to repeal or, review your PDR? What's the point of?
Yes, but this is not a repeal or review board. This is a issuing, so this board can submit PDRs, or can't really overview PDRs or overrule PDRs. That goes again to the judiciary. And I do believe I may have gotten that mixed up in my sentences, but I'm pretty sure I wrote that exactly in that on Senate Bill 8 or Senate Bill 7.
Vice President Edwards.
So currently, if an executive board member receives a PDR, the Solicitor General takes care of that, like they review it. So say, for example, Senator Crosby says, I get a PDR, then that goes to the Solicitor General. The Solicitor General says, okay, level 1, slap on the wrist. But Senator Crosby doesn't like that. Then it goes to the Oversight Committee?
No, if Senator Crosby doesn't like that, it would go to the
So what is the purpose of
the purpose of this committee is to, for example, what's his name? Legislative affairs, maybe, is the example that comes to my head, does a problem or has a problem with something that he or they may have done. And the Attorney General refuses to write a PDR for somebody. Then the legislative committee can choose to investigate on the situation that may or may not happen and may or may not be able to write out a PDR based off of their role.
Yeah, I be that person, but doesn't she at 7, so are they gonna have to,
I'll entertain a motion to extend J, or you guys can adjourn. Senator Sedgwick.
I was gonna make a motion to table, this table.
Running first, wait.
This is a point of order. This is all on first reading, so there's no need to table anything.
Okay, so then adjourn.
You have to make a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, does anyone second?
Adjourn.
Senator Rainey. With that, we're now moving to a vote on adjourning. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, with that, we adjourn. Thank you.